Greetings. It is I, the Solo Gamer, back with some more retro gaming action. Recently got my hands on some additional Tg16 games and finally got a chance to sit down and mess around with them. So I thought I'd share the experience. Ooh. There we go, that's better. This is Victory Run. Might have done a bit of a test run on this earlier. I don't know if I actually showed it. There we go. So yeah, this is Victory Run. It was an early racing game on the Tg16. What made it unique was it was one of the first games on the system, but it also was actually a game that actually used like traditional proper gear controls by making you press up and down on the controller to shift gears up and forth. Now, that being said, the game is definitely good. It is, however, very challenging. It feels way more stiff than I anticipated. But as you can see, one of the things about the TurboGrafx was it had incredibly good color and incredibly good pixel work, even if it wasn't without its flaws, and Lord knows it had plenty. But it was still pretty good for its day, and honestly, a lot more fun than I anticipated as far as a system of its era would be concerned. Granted, I only have a handful of games, and they're the ones that were the most commonly available in the region. I'm still trying to get imports from overseas, which is a little bit more challenging and expensive. But what I've got so far is not bad, and it definitely feels way more like a. Feels like way more of a. It feels like way more of a, sim type of racing game as compared to something like Outrun or Rad Racer might have felt back in the day. I think I'm about out of time. Yeah. Like if you crash or wipe out, you have to actually shift gears down to regain your speed. And then you have to shift back up as you accelerate. And you can and will take damage as the game goes forward. Yeah, it's overall a pretty good game, but it is very difficult, which, to be fair, was common at the time. But that's only one of a couple of games I recently picked up. Now, some of these actually come with the Polymega by default. Some of them I picked up on my own, like To the Hoop and Victory Run, and I actually have both versions, the Japanese and the original English, as well as Vigilante, Shockman and the others came with it. And then Power Golf was actually a small-time sports game, but it was for its time very, 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 very good. Granted, I have zero clue on how to play this. Alright, so, oh, yeah, you can adjust your angle based on the wind, which, yeah, wind's not too hard. You can change your driver. R3, 666 yards. And it gives you an indicator as to what the... Okay, let's try that again. Okay, I get it. So. Yep, clipped it right. And the best thing about this system is if you are just getting used to it, you can restart and just immediately pick up right where you left off. Which for games like these was kind of the whole thing. You had to... See, now we're more on target. I'm still off track, but making progress. This is a par 4, which honestly that makes a certain kind of sense. Slightly off target. Beauty shot, but I overshot it. Yep, straight into the trees. So what you'd normally do is you'd actually go down a club, like say to a 3. That would make your shot a little bit shorter. In this case, I fired it way off course though. But yeah, for a golf game, this was actually pretty technical because you had to know your clubs, you had to know your actual systems, you even had to know, exactly how much power to put behind a swing to make it angle to the right directions and go all through. But I mean, if you're a golf fan, you already know all that. Now, I recently picked up this game, which was the pack-in game for the TurboGrafx, or at least it was one of those games that pretty much everybody knew. Keith Courage and Alpha Zones was one of the first games that came out, and it was a platformer, which for the time was also, of course, exceptionally difficult. Reminds me, I need to look into getting the Karate Kid for the NES. But one of the things that made this stand out was to my memory, it came around a little bit before or ahead of the Super Nintendo, so it was both ahead of its competition and way more visually colorful and attractive. But unfortunately, once the Super Nintendo came out, they just didn't have a crowd. Like, they were completely out of their depth. But now I get my battle. this giant fuck off robot. And yes, it is every bit as simplistic as it looks, and I will not deny that. It is, however, a lot of fun. Gunhead looking ass. But it is, like many platformers of its era, highly challenging. Was highly challenging for its era. But to be truthful, this was still pretty cool stuff. Like, compared to like the previous Nintendo Marios and stuff like this, this was visually vastly superior. A lot more detailed and tremendously entertaining. Unfortunately, the system never gained the kind of traction it needed to, really do the job. And so it just kind of got left in the dust, like it got left behind. Which is an utter and complete shame, because I think there's a lot of real potential here. The system could have been an absolute hit had it had more games, and the games were more, what's the word? Varied. Like one of the game's biggest problems was like it was not varied or. Oh, whoa! Lost time. I've got my. Freak shows. Victory! But yeah. It was, for its time, a hell of a good game. And it still very much holds up today. Unlike some of the other games that they packed in with this, like the Motor Raiders, which are kind of clunky, and To the Hoop, which I still haven't figured out. But yeah, like the whole thing about the TurboGrafx is that it's one of those systems that really could have used more content. And unfortunately, that content just never came to pass. But that's the thing, like, this is, again, it isn't quite about the quality of the games, even though I feel like there's just a tremendous amount of really good quality games on the system. But I feel like the biggest issue is simply that I'm doing this for the purpose of maintaining, I'm doing this for the purpose of maintaining the records for these games, and like, I also am doing it because it gives me the option to put in these memories and records. Deep Blue. I need to get that next time I see it, because it's out there. I can probably acquire it. But this is one of those things where you can go through history and see all these games that either never came to the proper stateside release, or never actually got anything going. Sports basketball, that's the one I'm actually looking for, because I have taken it to the hoop. I don't know that one. Tiger Road I need. Yeah, I need to add you to the wish list. Bunk I never got onto. Impossible, nah. Now, Andre Paz Kickboxing I actually have. In fact, I think it's in my SNES collection, though I wouldn't be opposed to getting that version. TV Sports Hockey, Sid Meets Terraforming. But like, look at all these games. 90% of these either never released or released in such small numbers that they never got a proper release over stateside. So it's like Boxing Champions Forever, another good one. I tried to get my hands on Alien Crush. I could not get it to run. It would not run on my system for some reason. I think it's because it was damaged or severely corrupted, and I don't know why. They actually did also release a Tailspin game, which was essentially a platformer with some light, what do you call it? Shooting like shoot 'em up segments. R-Type, of course. The Super System card, which honestly, I could probably pick that up about 1,000 different locations. Wanders from YS accessory, but the thing is, you don't even need the CD system card for this, because the platform has the hardware for it built in, I think. Still need to get my hands on that, but yeah, like, there's so many of these games out here. Star Soldier. Gunnack is another game I'm desperately looking to get my hands on. DuckTales, I've already got the updated version, but I wouldn't be opposed. But yeah, like this is literally this at this point is now essentially a monument to gaming's history that grows every time I get a new game. Batman Returns, another great game. Yeah, there it is. Best of the Best Championship Grande. This is also known as Super Kickboxing and The Kickboxing in other areas. But yeah, there's also a version of it on NES, Super NES, Revenge of the Revengers, which, yep, need to add that to my list. Street Fighter, Fatal Fury. Those are the most expensive games on the listing right now, is the Fatal Fury stuff. Because anything for Neo Geo CD is insanely expensive at the moment. So definitely something I'm looking for. Brutal. God help me, brutal. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. A lot of good stuff. But yeah, like this is all just a fraction of what is actually out there that I still am hunting for. But yeah. I'd say this platform is probably going to be one of those systems that I think is just going to keep being an absolute joy to run on my system. But yeah, like I actually have the 96 King of Fighters, which, admittedly, very cool, but I don't have enough of the other games. Like I don't have enough Neo Geo CD games to actually make it viable yet, but I'm working on it. That's right, I never changed the settings for this to go to widescreen. And I know, yes, it's not the original video. I don't care. I want it to be a full screen. Damn it. Yeah, this was 96 was the year that the King of Fighters absolutely like really started hitting its stride. Whoa, what the? That was not what I wanted to do. Reset. But yeah, like, this was when the series really started to form its own identity by having these specifically themed teams for it. Like, this one is the female champions team, which always features Mai, but the other two women will change depending upon what year it is. And yes, you are not being deceived. This is OG Pixel Mai. And yes, those bounces are real. To be fair, this is also back when these characters had so many less moves in their repertoire. I still remember her super moves. Man, it has been a hot minute. I love it even when she loses, Mai's taunting you. And King is, if you're not familiar with King, she's from the same series that Ryu is. And basically, she was a character who, when you first meet her, she looks like a blonde, aristocratic character. And then if you beat her with a super move, her shirt explodes and you realize it's actually a woman in disguise. Which was a huge shock. And then later on, as the series progressed, she stopped hiding that, you know, showing more pride in her character.
Round 3. Ready, go!
The funny thing is, I don't remember like any of her other moves other than Venom Strike. There we go. No, I do not remember what that move was. Okay, it's her Shuriken. Oh, she does have the rush down. I'd forgotten she even had that. And Yuri's also from King of Fighters. She's Ryu's daughter, not daughter. She's Ryu's sister, and like he constantly flirts with her, but I think he's married or something. I have not played King of Fighters. It's so blasted. But like King, actually, in certain versions of this game series, King is actually broken. Like to the point where like there are some games where having King can break the game because her moveset is so incredibly brutal. But yeah, like the fact that this can even run Neo Geo CD games is crazy town. Because honestly, like it is such a rare system, and finding the games is so hard, and they are so pricey, and it just boggles my brain. But yeah, like the best thing about this is that because it has a built-in database, you can easily start going through the wish list and find game after game after game after game that you might be interested in. And it is very much a notable like bonus to the system that they went through all that effort to make sure that you had a record of the games that had existed on the platform. So if you were looking to get into retro gaming, this provides you with everything you need to get started. Not only the hardware, but all the data about all the old systems. Sega CD. Let's say I go to Sega CD and choose Cobra Command. Well, it'll show me a related game. It'll also show me other games in the same style, same developer, same company, or released in the same year for different brands. On the other hand, if I go to Final Fight, it'll show me related games. The original Final Fight 2, Final Fight 3, which I have both. And I still am looking for Mighty Final Fight, but that is very expensive. Captain Commando on the list because I want that. Spawn, also very good. Toxic Crusaders was kind of iffy. I'd add the Turtles, except I have that on my PC, so I don't need it. I do, however, want this one. It's on my list, and I will be receiving it soon because I have a copy of it coming on. Pirates of Dark Water. I need to get that. I have this one. It's broken for some reason on this interface. I need to get this one. I need to get this one. Golden Axe. I don't have the hardware for that though, so I'll need to get that eventually. Manhattan Project, definitely want to get you. Amazing Saga Mutant Fighter. DJ Boy. Street Smart. They did make a cliffhanger game, and it was actually not bad. It was not super great, just wasn't bad, technically. They did make a Alien vs Predator game for the SNES, but it's not the arcade game. It is another developed game of a similar style, but it is nowhere near as good. Mutation Nation, I need to get you. I am eventually getting the Genesis unit if I can get my hands on it. But yeah, like this is the thing. Like this is one of the things about this I love is that you can get so much data and information about games by going through these recommendations. Because you find a game of a particular style, you can then run through it and look for games released in the same year, game released in the same platform. It's all super handy. But yeah, like Sega Classics Collection. Sega Classics Arcade, which I definitely need to get my hands on. And then there's these, which is all these different types of compilations and stuff. And Museum, which I do have. I need the Williams Arcade Gray sets. I do not have that one for some reason. The Bubble Bobble collections, Triple Score. But this is great stuff because you can get all this stuff, and it will actually act the way it is, like Genesis Arcade Classics. But then you can check these things out, like Dynamite Duke, which was honestly, that alone would be something I would get the Genesis adapter for, is Dynamite Duke, because that game was amazing. Dark Wizard, Eternal Champions, all this stuff is Sega, which I used to have Daytona. I'm still trying to run a copy of it down. Outrunners, need to get a copy of that when I get the Genesis adapter, etc, etc, etc. But yeah, like, this is one of the reasons I tell people, if you're looking to get into the portable games market. Oh, I do have Daytona. I've got it on the Saturn. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. And then, if you're looking for a particular game, Gourmet Warriors. I have this on PC. It is actually really good. I am trying to find the Super Nintendo version, and it is insane how expensive it is. Gekido, actually on my hit list. Batman Robin, not on my list. At least not yet. It's supposed to be a fairly interesting and decent game. I haven't gotten around to it yet. Experts. Might be worth looking into at some point. Sengoku. Yes. That series is on my list. I was surprised that the Neo Geo cart system didn't get an adapter, but then I realized that the adapter for the carts would be bigger than the entire console, simply because the carts themselves are bigger than almost the entire console. So the CD made more sense. Soul Samurai. Ooh, this was a great game, the Genesis Ghostbusters. I seriously need to get my hands on. But yeah, like I said, I've made the point that this is the best system out there for mobile, or not mobile, for retro gaming. So if you're looking to get into it, I definitely think it's worth checking this out. My next video is actually going to be about the 360 and an old DBZ game I recently got my hands on, that after playing Sparking Zero, I went back to this game and realized just, why it is that I think Sparking Zero hit hard at first and then tapered off. And I'll explain that on that video. But if you're looking to get into retro games, Polymega is the system to do it. It is, by and large, I'd say the best option on the market. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this here, update the software here, and then I'm gonna switch over to the Xbox in just a minute. I will catch you then. My name is Matt, the Solo Gamer, and I'll see you around. Bye.